Hello everyone and welcome one and all to Group 2 of the SIMseniors Racing Championship. We're here at Season 5 tonight and we're here with Round 4. We come to Imola and we come to the beautiful circuit that is the one located deep in Italy. And we've got some great racing that we're looking forward to tonight. First off, if you missed out on Group 1, then that is something you definitely want to be checking out after this stream because it was fireworks lap 1. You would want to watch that back because everything changed after lap 1. I'm going to leave it there, but get subscribed and watch that after this one if you are interested. But tonight is Imola night for Group 2. If you know anything about Group 2, you know they're running championship parallel on the Tuesday instead of the Monday. We have a completely different set of drivers and a whole new ball game. So here is the plan. Here is the current stack. We have, of course, nearly 5 kilometers, 22 corners, and with a 15-minute qualifying going to start in just a few minutes, then we will see who is going to come out on top. As it currently stands, we have 3 classes. A reminder, folks, we run bronze, silver, and gold, with gold being represented by the white numbered cars, the silver obviously representing silver, and then the red numbers cars are representative of bronze. And where we stand with the points, let's take it one by one. So in the podium spot is Mark Hughes in the Ferrari 296, 127 points, leads the gold class alongside Andrew Goddard, 119 points, also in the Ferrari, followed by Alex North in the V8 Vantage, 106 points, looking nice and tidy. Next we go over to the silver class and we see 2 Pauls topping the timing sheets and the championship standings. 121 points stands Paul Wallace with the Ferrari 296 as well. That's proving to be quite a dominant car in the current balance of ACC. Paul Murray is 10 points penalty to his name, but still 119 points in that 720S, looking very fast, with Mike Pollock also in the 720S coming in at 92 points for the silver class. Finally, you have the bronze. You have Kevin Walker with 129 points, almost a perfect run up into this stage in the Ferrari, with Mike Hilton just behind at 99 points and Frank Tennant in the Bentley Continental. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I always love a bit of a, well, a quote-unquote off-meta pick. And I will always be a big fan of drivers taking cars that are a little more off the beaten path, let's say. But as we are going to be jumping in and taking a quick look at not qualifying, but practice. We'll be jumping trackside for practice first. We'll see a few drivers who are trying to get a little bit of dry running before qualifying good and proper. Remember, a 15-minute quali is enough for about 5 or 6 good runs. And then you have yourself a very interesting race. 60 minutes, a mandatory pit stop for fuel, and then plus 5 seconds if you are taking additional tyres. Something to consider because this can be especially punishing if you go out for longer stints. You will see yourself losing a lot of time, losing a lot of positions, so it's very much a gamble. Can you sink the 5 seconds and take it to the end in terms of further pace, or will you stay out on your old set, sacrifice the pit stop time, get a faster pit stop out, and then have to limp your car home on ailing tyres, rubber down to the thread? We saw a couple winners and losers out in Group 1, like for instance Dan Moffat. He took the latter and he lost a lot of positions in the dying moments of the race. But let's see a couple of drivers on side, and we have 30 seconds left to go in practice before qualifying starts. Let's take a look. We jump trackside right in time to see none other than Finlay going off of the track there. Oh no, that was Correo heading off the track. That is Barry Finlay just going off a little bit further back on the course. We're about to stop free practice and qualifying is about to begin, folks, but we have some early times and only one on the board. We had a few drivers put some runs out. I think that was Broadbent. That was Gary Broadbent just up ahead. Now 45.145 is the initial practice run and the only real gauge that we have thus far. But everyone's going to jump into the pits. Qualifying is about to start. I'm certainly looking forward to this, folks. So let me know who you think is going to be coming out top in qualifying. Not just in the gold class, but in the silver and bronze too. We want to see everyone's takes on how they're going to do in qualifying. And immediately, massive swathe of cars coming out of the pit lane. Everyone flocking to get out. A few drivers who are biding their time a bit more. But there are drivers who are quick to get on the jump, like Chris Wilson. So Wilson currently 7th in the championship. Could have been P4, but he has a 15-point penalty to his name. See drivers on their out laps now. It's looking a little bit cooler here, or at least certainly not as bright in Imola compared to the Group 1 race. We're not seeing any winds, which is good for aerodynamic stability, but a 26-degree track temp and 20-degree ambient is going to mean that drivers are going to still manage the thermals of their tyres, the thermals of their engine. They might have to peel out the slipstream to get some fresh air into the radiators. Because cooling is still very much a concern. Brakes, engine, and tyres alike. As it stands, nearly everyone is out on track right now. We have 37 cars competing in tonight's race. 37 cars connected to the server. And first out of the gate is going to be Chris Wilson. We're going to take a bit of a closer look at that Aston Martin as he heads down the start-finish straight, and let's see what he can do. Let's see how he controls the car. Take it through Tamburello now, and heavy on the curbs. You want to push the car and push it round those curbs. You don't need to be too afraid. It's only if you hit the yellow sausage curbs that you're going to see yourselves heading into a bit of trouble. Wilson taking a risk. He's going to bump up on one of them, but he's going to keep gripped up. Now Villeneuve, very nice. And then you have the hairpin of turn 7 before going back up the hill. See the slight curve to the right. That is technically classed as a corner. That's turn 8 before Piratella in turn 9. And then you head down to Minerali. You have to be careful with the throttle on the exit of here because it does suddenly curve up. Drivers can get caught out by the change in elevation. Sharp downhill or sharp uphill can mean some fluctuations in grip. Bumping over the Sochi curb once again as we go for a very anti-outer. And then we have the last few corners here. Ravazza looking very nice for the Aston Martin, but he is contending with a little bit of on-track traffic. We're going to see anyone yield, or they're going to power through regardless. It's going to be a McLaren pulling to the side. And here we go. That is, let's say, that is Bull. And Wilson is going to come through with a very nice time of 42.890. With Paul Murray immediately behind, usurping him to a 0.702. Amazing stuff. Already, we're seeing a little bit of a tussle going on the timing sheets. Melon is going to be coming in 43.4, P2 in the gold class. Kellenberg is going to be next through here. Next bronze driver to get a valid run. What's it going to be? It's a 46.942. He's going to be certainly looking to get another run on that. A few more cars are going to be flying through very shortly. Vassallo is going to be next up on the timing sheets, but we stick on board with Barry Finlay. Only one to set a practice time. And so far that practice time, 45, is going to be his benchmark to beat. But coming down start finish, let's see what he can make of it. It is going to be an invalidation, unfortunately. We see Vassallo coming in with a 44.5. Very nicely done there from him. Vasuri is next. Eero Vasuri coming through into Ravazza now, just coming out the other side. Heavy on the power on the exit. Let the Porsche take a little bit of a slip angle. There's more cars coming through on the timing boards. There's a P9 for Vasuri. He's going to join the likes of Walker, Hopkins, Broadbent, Colomb into that top 10 cusp, with Hill a bit further up ahead and Rog in the 420 car. Beautifully adorned, I have to say. Beautifully adorned car. Smith and Bull coming in next on the boards. That's Pierman coming in P4 with a 43.9, a P2 in silver. Carello comes through. A very nice run there at a 45.9, but that is not going to be enough to hang out with the top end of the field. See a few more jumps in. Mikulev is going to be P2 in silver. Goddard is going to be even higher, 0.642 in that Ferrari there. VFC Racing Team looking real happy right about now. And you have a few more cars who are going to pass the start-finish line very soon. McKillop into P5. Devine into P9. Dibattini, P12. Smukes P12 now, as he gets dropped by a position by Thompson. Is he going to be confirming a better time? Is there going to be an improvement? Yes, it is. It's P7 for the Porsche driver. Great stuff there. Kevin Walker next up. Local yellows coming out in some places as drivers are backing off. We're coming up to the halfway point, and Walker with a very nice run. So, for instance, Conrad Payne, currently at P35, has yet to set a time on the boards, and we have quite a few more cars. In fact, 9 more cars to be precise, that yet to have a run on the books. Hopefully we see that dwindle, because if nothing else, you need a time on the boards just to have some kind of security and safety net. Now Goddard's going to be coming through, but it doesn't look like he's going to be getting a charge here. Nope, it's not looking like it. I think he's setting up for his next lap here. If indeed he is. Gila just came through. P4, P3 in class. Murray is completely storming it. 42.452. That's an excellent run here from the silver driver. McKillop's next up. He's going to be coming through with North just behind. McKillop in P4. Is there going to be a bit of leapfrog? Yes, there is. Alex North, 42.6. He takes the lead of gold, but it's still not enough to catch Murray. Murray looking like an absolute rocket right now. Mike Pollock is very much up on his best time. So let's see what he can make out of it. Currently sits at 43.8. On his theoretical right now, he could break himself into the top 10. He just needs to nail this final couple of corners. Decent exit. Has lost a little bit of pace, however. I don't think he has a car that he can draft behind. It is going to be an improvement. 0.127. He is on the top 10. Dead on. Well, Anthony Flack, another driver, currently sitting in the Pro class. Dorigo coming P17. But Flack over a second faster, which is what he needs right now. He could make a big jump if he nails these last couple of corners, keeps it under a second. Doesn't quite look like he had the best section through Ravazza. But is it still going to be enough of an improvement to jump him up the order? P23 right now, and he's up into P12 with a 43.1. Brilliant lap there from the Ferrari. Christopher Suri. We're going to jump back on with him and see what he can do here. Last 5 minutes of quali. But he is looking very sharp with this lap. 45.0. He's already gained a second on his previous. A little bit of shakiness under the brakes, but improvement is the name of the game here. He might not be on tap with the rest of the top runners. The important thing is he's improving. And that will prove crucial. A little bit of a shaky Variante Alto. A little bit shaky there. And now we go with Iro Vasuri. Couple more cars trying to get some moves up. Is there going to be a move from Vasuri? P29. Big improvement. P17. A great run from the Porsche there. He's going to nest himself much further up the order. Got a few more cars who are going to be making an improvement, like Bernard Heim. P24 right now. Currently a 10th. That's going to see him leapfrog into P23. Is he going to get a challenge from anyone else on the track? Mike Bull coming up to the line now. He's going to be P29 now and up into P28. Does improve, but not enough to make a substantial jump. Dorigo looking very good with a big improvement on time, but a couple other drivers are about to see themselves finish their laps. Gila has just jumped into P2 with an amazing lap and leading silver right now, as we have Chris Wilson, who's currently leading the top of class there. Either way, Mark Hughes up into P9. Looking very speedy indeed. Ferrari looking like nothing is stopping him. And now we have everyone bar one car, which is going to be Frank Tennant. Everyone bar one is going to be having a time on the board. Smith does improve, but only by half a second. 4 seconds behind the lead of the session. He's going to see himself in a tight spot. Neil Mellon about to cross the line. P16. That's going to go up to P10. Great stuff from him there. And then we have Dorigo with a great time earlier. Did post himself up into the 10s. And can he push even further? He's improved by an entire second. This could be a massive leapfrog on the field if he plays his cards right here. It's P3. It's second in class. And it is an astounding lap from the Omega Motorsport car. An astounding lap from the number 66. So we see a few more cars making some shifts around the order. Mikolev into P11. Pierman into P16. Some of the drivers here tonight are really bringing their A game. Harry Finlay through Rivatsa. Looked very strong early on, but has since dropped down to P31. He's on the boards to improve, but just by how much? Only a position, 44.9. Next up we have Keith Moore, who is stuck in a little bit of a pickle, because he is now in that P31 spot. He has got a more substantial improvement, though. He could see even going against Quinn Kellenberg. And let's see what he's got. It's P28. Great stuff from him there. Gila was on an improved lap, but unfortunately they have invalidated, so this lap is not going to count for him. And he might be running out of time. He's only got one more shot, being realistic, before the checkered flag falls on the session. Hopkins going to cross the line, but is 2 seconds down. Meanwhile, Walker did get an improvement, but not enough to make a position in P13. Keith Moore, big drop out of the hairpin, is going to see himself drag racing with Iro Vasuri. In qualifying, the last thing you want to be doing is racing and fighting for space with your opponents. Not a good position to be in for either of them. And as we jump quickly to the timing boards before we get ourselves wrapped up in qualifying here. Easy just in the background. As Mikalev on a run there, but you can see P1 through 5, only one car is in the gold class, which I find very interesting indeed. Barry Finlay once again coming across the line. Does improve, but not enough for a position. We're starting to see that nexus of results now coming together, folks, because it is only 10 seconds left in qualifying, and it is running out of time. You've got a gaggle of cars coming down the start-finish straight, but are they going to cross the line in time with just 1 second to go? That is a finish for the Ferrari. That's a finish for North. Murray just about makes it, but immediately burns the lap. He's not going to get an improvement. He's going to be staying P5 at best. A lot of other drivers have now headed into the pits, and they are wrapping up their sessions. They are done. A few more cars now head up onto the track good and proper for one last shot. That is Colomb ahead, but Mike Hilton. Colomb heads into the pits. Hilton's got a clean run. 44.0. Projected to improve. 26 now. Up to P20. Good jump from him there. A few more cars could be seen to get an improvement. We have a look around the grid. We don't see much in the way of other cars, but we do see Wallace is about to cross the line. Come out, Ravazza. Up to start-finish line. Very tight and clean. He is going to leapfrog up into P12. He's just going to usurp Melon for the spot. Next up is Hughes. Coming across the line. We had a no improvement from the car ahead. Hughes in P8. Very good run from a lot of the drivers. Carl Thompson, though, he's stuck behind another car, and he's going to go in P2. We jump up just as he's getting a little bit of traffic. 42.335 and a bit of bumper cars for good measure as he comes to the end of the start-finish straight. And that is your timing sheet, folks. And that is going to be it for quali. Chris Wilson leads the gold class, followed by Carl Thompson and Andrew Goddard. In the silver class, you have Gila, Mikalev, and Dorigo. And then in the bronze class, you have Mike Hilton down in P20, but leads the group along with Kevin Walker and Vassallo. We're going to take a short break here, folks, as we get the racers ready for race trim and get themselves out on track for the outlap. And we'll be right back with you in a couple minutes. Well, folks, we're about to get trackside for the outlap here. And we are about to get ourselves in for an hour of racing. A reminder, if you haven't been here before, if you haven't jumped in on our Facebook, Discord, you haven't liked the stream and subscribed to our YouTube channel, you know, now would be a good time. It'll be a pretty good time just before we start round 2, or round 4 of Group 2, I should say. We have a 60-minute race ahead of us with one mandatory pit stop for refueling. You have tyres as an option available, but you will still need to choose between getting the tyres and losing 5 seconds or continuing out on your burnt rubber. That's the choice you have to make, and most drivers I seem to go for it. Around Imola, it's going to be especially crucial. But we're going trackside, folks. We're about to see what these drivers can really do. It's SIMseniors. We're out on track, ready for things to unfold. Top 18 were separated by less than a second. That is a very good point, Neil. So, excellent stuff there. Well spotted and well driven by all of our drivers. At the top of the stack stands Chris Wilson, with Carl Thompson leading on the front row, both of them in the gold class. But Gila in P3 is looking very strong in that Aston Martin, leads in silver alongside Mikulev on the second row. A bit further down the order in the bronze, you have... Oh, Hilton's gone back into the pits. I was about to say Hilton, but he's seemingly gone back into the pit lane. Don't know what's going on there, because you have him and Correa in that, well, in the side of the track for the outlap. Don't know what's going on there, but it looks like Walker is going to be the one to start off and lead the bronze class, and an interesting turn of events with Vassallo down in P25, who's going to be queuing up behind him. And that is your outlap summarised, folks. That is your standings, there's your leads for each class, and in that, the drivers to watch. But let's see what these racers can do. And as we come to the final sector, Variante Alta, we're going to see drivers very soon slow down to about 60 k's and then line up in double file for the race to begin in full. So yeah, I do wonder what happened to Hilton and Correa there. Both of them in the pit lane. Maybe the game decided they were running too fast or something had happened to their car. So here we go. This is it, and it is time for us to race. We're slowing down to formation speed. Let everyone bunch back up to the field. We're seeing a quite large group of cars much further behind the standard queue. I wonder if there was a bit of a bump and run, or a little bit of a bumping through the first corner. You can see Peter Smith really trying hard to catch up, but it's no time for that now. We are on board the Helicam as the racing is about to get underway. We saw a bit of turn 1 carnage last time out, and are we about to see that again? Let's see. Wilson leads. It's round 4, and it is green light. We are going. The track is hot, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a great start for Carl Thompson. He's going to get immediately on the full power. He's going to go for an overtake. He's going to go for first position right out the gate. 3 wide almost coming in, and you can just see a little bit further behind down into Tamburello. That was a little bit of chaos, and there's a lot of switching around happening in the middle of the grid, but no carnage, no casualties. Though saying that, Vassallo is off. What's happened there? Let's see. Vassallo just taking a bit too much of the grass. Luckily, doesn't pick up anyone during his travels. And then you can see a bit more trading in the mid-pack here as we jump a bit further up and onto present timing. Going through turn 7 and up into Piratella. There's a drag race just behind between Hopkins and Pearman. You see a big juggle as Trickett is going to advance on Colomb. Eyes on the top. Oh, getting very close. Nearly a little bit of contact. You can see just a bit of a concertina effect going on there, the further rack in the grid. Getting a bit too close for comfort. That is Paul Wallace around. I'm not sure whether he had a bump or whether there was an incident there. Oh, nope, he just lost the car, it seems. But then looking further up, see Mikulev. He's also lost the car and he went into the wall. He has recovered, but he's down in P22. Looking a bit further down, we see none other than Paul Murray overextend himself through Rivarza, and he's going to be going down into position 7, just dropping to Tony Hill. We're going to see a bit of a drag race between these two because I'm pretty sure that Murray does not want to give up this position without the fight. He's going to use that acceleration advantage of the 720S, but the Ferrari is going to have the inside. He goes deep. He goes too deep. He nearly collects. He does collect. That is almost a big shunt, and we're seeing the effect of that incident coming out for a few cars here. That was North caught up. That was Hill, of course, in the mud. That was Murray nearly getting himself into a big incident. Hill is going to rejoin the track. Bit too much into Tamburello. Is going to see him down into P32. Meanwhile, back up on the top end of the field, Mark Hughes is going to be looking for a move on Dorigo. He's P3 in class, as Dorigo is P2 in currently silver. You see a few drivers going for moves, but I know for a fact they would not be comfortable taking it in the rear like some of these drivers have. I really should rephrase that. Never mind. Neil Mellon down in P10. Looking for an opportunity to get into the single digits with Pearman up in P9. Things have somewhat calmed down a little bit, I have to be honest. Mike Pollock looking for potential. Oh, but we're saying that there's a little bit of diciness. That's Bernard Heim and Andy Trickett coming to blows, heading down into Rivarza. I wonder just how aggressive these two are going at it. As you can see here, Vasuri coming up close. They are going to be looking for an opportunity. But then also a bit further back, there's Keith Moore as Mikulev gets involved. So Mikulev has a slide and then collects more in the process, it seems. So he's going to be walking away with some substantial damage. Paul Murray is also going to be the next one off, coming out from turn 6, rejoining for the hairpin. Villeneuve is not kind to some of these cars, with Dorigo now dropping the position to P5. Tight, dense racing all around the field right now. I don't tend to pile on any sarcasm in the commentary box, but this would be a good time to remind drivers that brakes are not, in fact, optional, they are mandatory. And Trickett could be looking for another move on Heim here, but at this same place last lap, we saw how dicey things got. So I'm sure Trickett does not want a repeat of the incident. Are they going to be going for anything? They have the proximity, or are they going to bide their time coming out of Rivarza? Going to play it a bit safer, get very close to the back of the Ferrari in front. Keeping an eye on Vasuri all at the same time too. They know that Vasuri isn't within reasonable distance to try and mount an attack. There we go. Could be something for Trickett here. Oh, something has happened on the lead. Something has happened on the lead. That is Wilson, who completely took too much curb coming through Tamburello, and he's demoted himself into P7 as of now. He has got the fastest lap, and he can potentially make back time, but I don't know how easy he's going to be, especially now that his confidence is likely shaken. Paul Murray going to be going for a potential challenge on Anthony Flack. Solo and Mikalev both in the pits right now. It's enough. Walker currently leads the bronze class in P19. And in P2 is Gila with Thompson now claiming the overall race lead. Seen a bit of a drag race between Pollock and Murray, but nothing such has materialised just yet. As I am, every now and again, I'm just flitting back to Trickett and Heim, because these two are in very close proximity and neither wants to yield to the other. Vassallo has a stop and go 30-second penalty, which is just adding insult to injury in his position right there. Wallace is also going to be going for an attack and seemingly has the apex. Very nice move for the Ferrari there. It's going to see him take the spot. With Richard Colomb losing the spot to Bull, going through Rivarta. Well, Trickett has finally made the move past Heim, but is Heim going to take it lying down? I want to keep an eye on these two because we are not above the aggression that we've seen in rounds and corners previous. But Vasuri is also tailing the back of that Ferrari, looking for potential, waiting to see what he can get. Eagerly awaiting the battles in the mid-pack. Chris Wilson, meanwhile, is on the recovery drive. But is not doing so hot right now, as he is making mistakes. We're just silently watching. Neil Mellon is making a mistake as well, dropping the position to the number 420 car of Rog Ismiguez. Andy Goddard could be taking an attack to the podium, but is he going to go through with it all the way? Down into the inside, Tamburello now, but that's big contact between the two. There's going to be a little bit of a yield there, and yep, Goddard does in fact release the position, relinquishes it following the contact. Good sportsmanship being shown there. Even if the move was a little bit dicey, it's about how you react. We see a classic example of being a good sport. We jump to the lead of the bronze class, and who do we see? Well, we see a cloud of dust smoke, or dust and smoke, but we also see Walker, as Trickett has seemingly lost a massive positions, and I believe that was the culprit of this dust and smoke coming out earlier. Walker has dropped to Tennant. They do overextend coming through Piratella, but they have enough sort of track warnings on their side to be okay for now. Can't rest on his laurels, however, because he will see himself get into trouble, get himself penalties if he takes too much penalty, or takes too much of the track. Tony Hill down in P27. He's looking like he's struggling a bit as we see a big slip. That is Paul Wallace losing the car in a big way just in the background. To the point where we are now seeing cars from different laps come through. This battle for P27 could get real close. That's Wallace on the back of Smith, on the back of Hill. Barry Finley has just lost a position to Mike Ball. And while Pollock has fallen a little bit further behind, Paul Murray continues the challenge on the back of Anthony Flack, and he is going to go for it, going through Villeneuve. Apex belongs to the Ferrari, but the 720S has the power. If he can lock it down on track, he can get the move done. He just needs to keep that proximity. These two continue to drag race up into Piratella now. Tight left-hander once again. The Ferrari has the Apex. It has command of the corner. Is the space going to be left? Just about enough. It forces the 720S to extend, but he still has the run, still has the line. Now the McLaren is in the power position. He has the Apex, and this tight corner could see him getting a big move, but it doesn't quite happen. I think there was a bit of contact between the Ferrari and the McLaren to where now the number 90 car is dropping behind in a big way. Bruce Hopkins watching and lying in wait as Alex North is going to be just behind him, looking for opportunities to get by too. Some quality racing coming out from these drivers here tonight, I do have to say. We jump to the main battles and we jump to the top of the field. Chris Wilson. Oh, Chris Wilson's going for it. He's going for P6 now. McKillop is there and he's had enough. He's going to push it, but once again, in a little bit of deja vu, that is Wilson losing the speed through Tamburello. And he's once again relinquished to P7. Goddard could be making a move here, but Paul Murray continues the good fight. He's once again back on to the rear of the Ferrari, and I think this time he's coming here with a vengeance. He does not want to let this move go, not again. Now we see Flack with the extend coming out of Piratella. A little bit of a role reversal there. But no McLaren alongside to make the challenge and push the car forward. In fact, Murray is overall losing more time than he's gaining to Flack right now. He's not making up significant time. A little bit further in the back, we see a drag race between Simone de Bettini and Walker, and whoa! We just saw a disconnect in real time. Yeah, we just saw a disconnect in real time. I do not even know where to begin with that one. Camera absolutely having none of it. Melon is going to be going for the P10 spot on the number 420 car, Dispicus. They're going to be drag racing into Tamburello once again, like so many cars have before them. And it is going to be pushing up, but there's a big drop in the timing order as my timing sheet seems to have a little bit of a moment. Melon up into now P9. I think the timing board had a little bit of a fritz out. I do apologise for that, but to say that Melon is in a big trouble. Taking way too much speed through Villeneuve. And dropping not just the position to Dismukes, but dropping any chance he had at recourse within the next section of this race. See a little bit of a dust cloud coming out from Flack just behind. Murray continues the pressure. I think that's the big thing here, is that the pressure is on. And with enough laps of building pressure, you can see that drivers are going to be making big advances. So a car slowed down in a big way on track. I'm not sure who that really was. Guess we'll have to wait and see. Let's keep on board with Wilson for a minute. As as we see if he can re-establish his challenge to P6. He was getting very close last time out. He is going to be pushing for it. He looks to the right. He looks to the left. He switches back. He goes in deep. And once again, third time, he does overshoot and go into the sand of Tamburello. And this time, he's not just dropping P7. You can see the amount of speed he carried. He's going to be dropping P8, as well as Pierman is taking a move on him. And a big slide from the Aston Martin forces the corrective action from, I believe that's Michalef behind on blue flags, so not of immediate instant, but Wilson struggling to get a good handle on the car, I believe. See Pollock dropping down a couple of places in the time all of that has kicked off, with Trickett down now into P19 off the back of Heim. Missouri is past, Tennant is past. And we see a couple of movements around the field. We are down to 35 cars. I mean, points for consistency for Wilson there, but it's not the kind of consistency we are necessarily looking for on this occasion. We jump a bit further ahead and we see a curious driver, Mike Pollock. Pollock could potentially push himself to get some positions, but that is going to be Wilson heading into the pit very early, just 42 minutes. I'll say 42 minutes left of the race, so 18 minutes in now. He's already going for his mandatory stop. Not sure what the rationale behind it is there. But where is he going to be coming out? So we see a bit of a battle starting to kick off. That is Hilton and Moore. To a little bit of a challenge there. Melon on this, we guess. They're going to be going for P8. Battle for P8 here. See who comes out on top. Melon looking very much hungry for the position in that Ferrari. Now, it is the late afternoon / early evening in Imola, so the temperatures are beginning to drop slightly. One down a couple of degrees. And introducing a little bit of wind is going to get a little bit of instability in some of the aero. Dismukes with the mistake is going to give Melon a crucial opportunity. Now, is he going to confirm and go through with it? He goes to the right very curiously, because I think he knows that Roger is going to go to the left and cover off the apex heading into this corner. Now, here we go. Melon just with the speed manages to take full command anyway. As it confirms through Tamburello, it's looking very nice for the Ferrari, and a P8 well earned. Meanwhile, you have Paul Murray once again taking the fight to Flack, nearly coming to blows with a little bit of contact. Let's jump a bit closer here. You see Paul Murray going to the inside. The chicane that is Villeneuve, proving to be quite the racing challenge. Flack right in the middle of the track, perfectly awkward, and not really giving any window for Murray to attack. As a strategic driving at its finest. Well, some may look at that and think it's blocking. He didn't significantly move. He did stay to his line. Didn't move significantly under braking. Now Murray has a very interesting predicament. He has option 1, which is continue his attack to Flack, potentially be over aggressive with it and get himself in trouble. Or option 2, which is find a balance between himself and defending from Hopkins, who is about 0.7 of a second behind, but is showing to be very eager to closing that gap. Choice is his. What he'll pick, I guess you and me will find out. But a bit further up the road, we can see, if we get a little bit of a replay, that is going to be Walker having some contact with, I believe, that is the McLaren of Broadbent. No, note, that is not the McLaren of Broadbent. That is my mistake. Just trying to get an ID on which McLaren that is now. I believe that was, no, that was Pierman, potentially. Yep, so I don't think that is going to be happy with that one whatsoever. But the fight rages on. And in that light, let's take a look at where we are in terms of the classes right now. Where we are with the classes, Carl Thompson is currently leading. Not just leading, but leading by 11 seconds to Hughes, who is his next compatriot in class. Meanwhile, Gila is just a couple of seconds behind, or ahead of Dorigo in the silver. And for the bronze, it's going to be Tennant. And Tennant is looking like he's absolutely storming the bronze class right now with a 22-second lead on Gary Broadbent. Amazing drive here from the Bentley. Goddard is going to be heading into the pits, curiously enough, and that is going to leave a little bit of a space vacuum out on the track. Jumpable with Ira Vasuri, the number 992 car. Hopefully that's a nice nod to the Porsche generation that he's driving. The GT3 was one of the most technically advanced, and marking the full official switch, or the second generation since the full switch to mid from rear engined. A crucial change to stay competitive in this GT3 class. It's proven to be very successful so far. Meanwhile, we have Paul Wallace, who's going for an attack on the Ferrari. Now it's going to be Walker who is taking the position here. Wallace up into P21. This is going to be extending the gap from the bronzes to the rest of the field. And Hill is going to be making a move and jumping into P18 ahead of Broadbent. So this mid-pack is full of trades. Full of trades indeed. We keep a watchful eye on the field as it, for the most part, has stabilised. Goddard has now come out of the pits and is out in P24. So he is in an interesting position right now, but he is fresh and has taken his mandatory stop. So that, of course, leaves him free to pursue whatever strategic options he desires. He tries to look narrow, but narrow is not to be. The centre is up ahead, blocking his path. Drag race resumes on the start-finish straight. That's between Kalam and Broadbent. And really, drag race is the right word. That 720S. Oh, bit of contact. Big contact coming through. Broadbent is off the track. They come to blows. Both managing to keep it together, but faster traffic coming through. That is going to be Paul Wallace getting a double overtake on these two cars throughout all the chaos. So So for Paul Wallace is a very good day. Richard Killam and Gary Broadbent, not so much. That was a heck of a save, keeping it back on track, but yeah, still not a good position to be in whatsoever. Meanwhile, pit lane side, we have Smith, Finlay and Centre all heading into the pit lane. Not sure who's going to be taking some tyres. Broadbent, big extend coming through Piratella. That's going to see Killam continue to challenge and go for the move, but he also goes for the extension. Big extension. Something is wrong with both of their cars there. They have seen some major damage. Just as soon as one gets an advantage, the other comes swooping back in. This time he's not just got Broadbent to worry about, but Walker, and Broadbent is off through Mariante Alto. Kevin Walker has inherited a free position out of these two's misfortune. Are they going to be peeling off into the pits? Have they got damage? Or are they, as we see here, continuing to fight and push through? Murray and Pollock next into the pits. Alongside Smith and Finlay starting to come out now. Mikulev with a big incident. Let's see what's just happened to that BMW there. Comes through Piratella, comes across the hill. In through the corner. Bit too much excel. And there you go. Brutal hit into the wall. That is a tough one for him there. Tough pill to swallow. Vassallo is sideways as well. Luckily, does manage to dodge any incident. But let's just see what happened. Get a bit of a recap as Finlay had just come out of the pits by that point. Vassallo coming in way too hot. Bumps the inside of the McLaren. And you see they're both limping their way back to the track, with Vassallo jumping into the pit lane. Gila, the leader of the silver class, has made the decision to jump into the pits, meaning Dorigo, for now, has inherited the silver class lead. Thompson still remains out ahead, and by a substantial margin, 13 seconds between him and Hughes. Meanwhile, in the bronze class, Tennant is making some big strides and continuing his position lead in the bronze, with Walker a very large amount of time ahead. Or behind, I should say. My apologies. Stammering my words and fumbling my words a little bit. Don't know what's going on fully. See a massive clump of bronze class drivers down the bottom here. Kellenberg in the McLaren, trying to chase and go for a move on Hilton. Let's see what he does. Hilton is, interestingly enough, indicating that he's going to go to the right. So either that's courtesy, not befitting of a racetrack, or a bit of contact there, a little bit of squeezing coming from the Ferrari. Indicate right, but go to the left. I see that misdirection. Very cheeky indeed. Either way, Kellenberg still remains resolute, takes the car through, and gains the position. He's going to continue that surge, it looks like, as the Lamborghini ahead of Centre is looking a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit dicey. In fact, takes a very wide run through the corner and heading up into Piratella. This could be Kellenberg getting another place and moving himself up currently to P5 in the bronze class. Centre, in fact, looking like he's struggling in a fairly big way. Bernard Heim currently P23, dropped down a couple of places, with Anthony Flack now heading into the pits alongside Thompson and McKillop, leaving Hughes to inherit the lead of the Pro, aka Gold class. Said it before and I'll say it again, fireworks are coming. He's joining us back on. Tony Hill is going to get a free promotion in positions. Gila, unfortunately, is going to get a stop-and-go 30-second penalty, which they are going to be going in to serve now. Killam with a drive-through after taking a bit too much of the track limits were granted. And I do feel for Gila here. They had such a good run up until this point, and that stop and go 32nd is all but dooming their efforts to win the silver class. Dorigo has practically got this on a silver platter after that fumble, which is a real shame. Meanwhile, Andrew Goddard, coming up to some slower traffic. They have to dodge the apex there, as I'm not sure who that was. Basically, a complete sitting duck on the track. That was Basalo, I think. Yeah, that was Basalo. Not sure what he's doing there. Either way, Goddard is going to try and get around Broadbent in these next couple of corners. See if he can make himself a little bit of room, a little bit of space. Push himself through. Look for a gap. Look for a safe gap, but a gap nonetheless. Assess your opportunity, whether it's viable. Here comes said opportunity. Broadbent with a poor exit through Variantiato is going to see Goddard into P12. Very pleasurable run to be sure. Whoa, what's happened? Going through Aqua Minerale. Let's get a recap of what's happened. We're on board with Paul Murray here, and we can see just up ahead there is contact between himself and Mike Pollock, and that is going to see quite a few cars get collected in the well, chaos. Don't like to use the word often, but yeah, in the chaos, we lost him. Colomb heads in for a drive-through penalty to be served. Quinkenberg is now into the pits alongside Hill and Walker. Hopkins joins them. A few more cars have yet to take the stops. So far, leaders, pit stop inclusive, is going to be Thompson, followed by Murray, followed by Tennant. Dorigo up on the top is going to be taking their stop now. No wonder where he's going to come out, considering the timing gaps. Timing gaps, and with Gila now out of the picture. Are they going to re-emerge post-pit stop ahead of the rest of the competition? Let's see here. Jumps in the pits. Your adversary is going to concede the position to Mike Pollock. Walker in the pits also, with Finlay joining. So Trickett is also in, but Dorigo is about to set off any second now. I am lingering on their POV. You can see Carl Thompson heading by there, just as Dorigo exits the pits. Where are they going to come out? Are they going to be leading for silver? There's a couple more cars going past. Back markers. That's Goddard. North in the pits. Trick it down. That is Dorigo with effective lead of silver. That is lead of silver. Correo heading into the pits. Killop continuing to run through. Elo, of course, down in now P24. That's got to hurt. P24 here. Given the very substantial time loss of a stop and go 32nd. North down in P12. Hopkins P11. Potentially making that P10 against Anthony Flack. What has happened with the timing sheets? Pearman has seemingly disconnected. Yeah, that's Pearman out. He briefly jumped to first place before the timing board had a bit of a moment. Keith Moore is going to be getting a position along with Hilton as Centre makes a big drop. And in fact, Centre coming across the track nearly collects Goddard, who is on a lap up. That Lamborghini is certainly struggling, whether that is for grip, control issues. One thing's for sure, he's a sitting duck out there, Center is. But has seeming to get a bit more of a grip on it. Correa with a stop and go 30-second penalty just as he's come out of the pits. That's got to be a big kick in the teeth for him. I would not envy his position right now. Ooh, a little bit of coming to blows between Hopkins and Flack here. We could see a bit of a three-way battle start to forge. Alex North looking for opportunities, looking for a way to get around these two cars. He's currently assessing his options, as they're going to watch the two ahead of him fight. And I think that's the way to do it. He can play it a little bit more patient. He can wait for those two to run each other out of room. And by putting each other off the racing line, North has an opportunity to close any gaps. Number 207 car proving to keep itself very clean and tidy. Battles rage on around him. Oh, that is looking rough. That's Colom off the track. Let's get a replay of what happened. You just see way too much speed coming through Ravazza. And that's going to see him, yep, completely in the sand. Trying to recover himself. Not looking good. Creo into the pits now to serve the stop and go 30-second. And then we jump out ahead and see Chris Wilson making an attack successfully on Dorigo. Get himself up with the rest of his pro compatriots. Dorigo still leads the class. And to Murray, very substantial margin. But the real question at the moment is, how is Wilson going to recover given such a strong start? He has 7.6 seconds to make up to Goddard, and his current laps are not looking anywhere near as quick as some others on this track. 44.6 last lap compared to Goddard's 43 flat. In fact, Goddard could be potentially looking at taking a spot on the front row, proverbially so, and P2 directly. We jump back to a familiar battle, and one that really needs no introduction. Murray and North. Murray has got an opportunity to push, and push hard. He will. I eagerly await some of the moves that are going to come out of these races. Anthony Flack is trying to get around some of the traffic. He did get caught behind through Variantiata. And then through Ravazza. Aston Martin getting much closer, but doesn't take the apex and doesn't take as much exit speed, which has put a bit of a dent in his run here. Can get a bit back through slipstream. Let's see what he does. He's going to inch closer. Closer again. Very much making an attack now. He's going to go on the right side. Tamburello, who is going to take the cake. Oh, we're going to see a bit later braking. No, Flack does not defend. Flack lets Hopkins take the spot. I wonder if that's just set up for a later defense. Actually, no, it seems like Flack is losing proximity. He's fading. He's fading, in fact, rather quickly. Last lap 44.6, Flack 44.9. So I wonder if there is a bit of a pace question to be asked. They're saying that he has caught back up now. Meanwhile, Paul Murray big off from the car ahead. You see Murray is looking for a move on the outside, trying to get around north. Bit of traffic they're trying to get around here. You can see the Ferrari yielding to the point of going into the grass. But yielding nonetheless. Just don't do that too far or you could become a hazard onto the rest of the field by losing control. But now, onto the bumper of Paul Murray. He's going to be looking for a potential move on Alex North. Is he going to go for it here? Does he have the speed to do so? Anthony Flack looking in very close for these guys. Oh, they're going to be side by side. Murray is going to get right up close and personal with both cars as North is going to go for the attack. Murray's going to follow behind. It's going to be nearly 3 wide. It is going to be 3 wide heading into Villeneuve. Who's going to come out on top? That is going to be Flack dropping out both spots. Murray goes on for a switch back on North. Is going to be a tight turn 7 here through the hairpin. Is on the outside. That McLaren doesn't quite get the exit he wants. He has to tuck back in behind the Aston Martin. Is there going to be an attack from Flack? No, sirree. Alex North has gained a spot along with Murray, and Flack is down 2. This mid-pack is really where it's at, folks. Though saying that, we have just seen an off from Bernhard Heim. As he was seemingly defending a position, let's see what's happened here. Up into Piratella. Too much curb. Snap oversteer. And that's all she wrote, unfortunately. Down into P17 as of now. And an unfortunate turn of events. Back to Mike Pollock. He was defending from Trickett, coming into Variantialto, and then through Ravazza here. He is looking to keep that pink Ferrari at bay once more. He has got a very difficult situation on his hands. Got Flack in the front, and a Trickett in the back. And a whole lot of racing still to go. 15 minutes coming up to. The race is far from over. Keep an eye curiously on this mid-pack. He's got a whole group of 5 cars. McKillop briefly had an off. I'm going to quickly just check back on the replay and see what happened there. He was on the back of Dismukes. Through Piratella. Oh, good save. Good save indeed for McKillop there. Big slide over the curbs at Piratella. Those curbs are lethal. You do not want to be messing with those. But a massive group of cars now coming through. See a huge group out on the track. Jump on board to the heli. Trickett looks to be one to watch here as they are putting down some aggression. They're putting down the gauntlet. They really want to try and get around Pollock. Yeah, but looks like the gap between Flack and Murray has grown to about a second now, so Flack is not going to be able to see attack as a viable option. Now, the question lies in the defense. That is going to be David Center off the track once more. And in a difficult turn of events, currently sits on P26. Paul Murray, he's not done. He's not happy with just the move on Flack. He wants to get it on Alex North as well. You can see he goes to the left side, peeks a potential move, doesn't go for it. Both of them overextend through Piratella into Aqua Minerale now. The McLaren is going to be on the left side with the Vantage taking its time and taking the corner perfectly on the racing line. He wants full control. He wants to remain in control of this battle, and that is exactly what he's going to do. The key instance here, and the key differentiator between a move being made and a move not being made, is patience. Has Murray got the patience to wait for the right moment and not be overzealous? Has North got the patience to not be overzealous with his defending and put himself offline to the point where he loses significant pace? You see in the back there, that's going to be Anthony Flack losing 2 positions, make that 3 as Vasuri comes flying through. Bit of an overextension through Rivalta is going to see him drop down into P15, and Vasuri is not done there. P14, he's conquered. P13 is next. Let's see, does he go for it? Actually, no, he backs off into Tamburello. I think he knows that going side by side is not going to be useful for anyone. Ironically, we haven't looked at the top end of the field much, and that's because there's not much to say. Thompson leads, and Thompson has 17.1 seconds ahead of Hughes. And then 3.5 seconds further down the road is Andrew Goddard, and another 3 seconds, Wilson. Credit where it's due, Wilson has seemingly found his pace and has pushed his car to the absolute limit, closing a gap from 9 seconds about 20 minutes earlier into 3. So excellent driving on form and on display there. Vasuri, bit of an overextension through Aqua Minerale. But he chases down Mike Pollock nonetheless. He's going to go for it, potentially, coming out over Rivalta and down the start-finish straight. Anthony Flack just a bit further behind. Big overextend coming in from Pollock there. That's all she wrote, as not only Pollock dropping down to Vasuri, dropping down to Flack too. Big pace loss. And a brutal happenstance to be in. But now Vasuri, 1.7 seconds behind Trickett, has not got a means to close that gap. Hasn't got Slipstream on his side. And then meanwhile, back up at the top, Bruce Hopkins and McKillop are fighting once more. Oh, bit of an extension into Tamburello. That is going to be Bruce Hopkins dropping into P9 and losing any chance he had for an attack there. Tony Hill with an excellent exit is going to be getting the run on Bernhard High. Ferrari looking formidable up and down the field. That's going to be Keith Moore. Let's see what's happened there. Oh, nearly getting a bit dicey. You can see Keith Moore just losing the car there. And it seems to be, yep, that is a McLaren who he completely dispatches of. That is the McLaren of Paul Murray. So Murray's luck is going from bad to worse in some regards. A brutal incident that is going to see him certainly be frustrated through no fault of his own. That was no fault of his own there. It was on the racing line, that car. Between Kellenberg and Finlay have come together. Let's quickly get a recap of that and what happened. You can see just a traditional bump on the rear. And with that, we jump back up to the front of the field. We jump on board with Paul Wallace, and we can see that he's trying to get a bit of an attack down on Bernhard Heim here next up. As it stands, folks, things have fairly stabilised. There's no real attacking or defending moves going on around the track. Sure, maybe Pollock and Flack. But here are your times. And here is your current standings. Thompson, Hughes, Goddard, Wilson and Dorigo make up the top 5, with Dorigo leading the silver class to boot. 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 of Mellon, Dismukes, McKillop, Hopkins and North, with Trickett, Vasuri, Flack, Pollock, Murray, Tennant leading the bronze class, and then Hill, Heim, Wallace and Gieler making the top 20, with a few other cars out on the field, like for instance all the way down in P32, Finlay, but then you have, say, Bull, Walker, Broadbent, Hilton, Payne, Centre, Moore, Smith, Colomb, Quinkellenberg, and then Crello and Finlay making up the full field. Anyway, back to the action, because I think we got ourselves a little bit of a traffic issue, which these two have managed to navigate well, but big snap coming from Bernhard Heim is going to give an opportunity to Paul Wallace. They drag race up the hill into Piratella now that Ferrari has not given up. But no, he dips back. He knows that fighting through Piratella is not ideal, but a big extension from the McLaren is going to certainly raise some eyebrows. There's certainly going to be some eyebrows raised. I can tell you that much. Surely some drive-through penalties are going to be on the horizon. But for now, as it stands, Mike Pollock is going to be making a big charge against Anthony Flack. Doesn't have the room to move, though. He can't go for the attack. And in fact, Anthony Flack goes onto the sand. He yields the position through going off track. Here you go, Bruce Hopkins. Was getting caught up. Is in a position where he can get P8 if he so chooses. We have just 7 minutes left of this race, folks. So about 5 laps left. 4 being realistic, but 5 on the optimistic. Mike Hilton and Gary Broadbent have a drag race into Ravazza. Is there going to be an attack? Oh, Mike Hilton, bit sketchy on the grass. Brakes early to play it safe. Gary Broadbent, bit too much on Ravazza. Both of them going about even. Both making a mistake. Broadbent can continue the attack here. He does have the speed. You can see him peeling off to the left. Broadbent doesn't quite go for it. Or does he? No, he goes to the left and then doesn't confirm. There's a yellow out. That's for Neil Mellon. What's happened there? Let's see. Just a jump on the curbs and a classic spin. He's going to see himself get a quick re-entry onto the track, but not before giving a little bit of a scare to some passers-by. Meanwhile, Goddard has caught up to Wilson. And Wilson doing a fine job being up in P3 here. And a few more cars could be potentially on the horizon for moves. McKillop has an opportunity here for going from P8. He's looking close, looking on the inside. Doesn't go for it though. Peels out to try and keep his thermals under control. Track has dropped a little bit more in temperature, 24 degrees surface temp. But it is the last 5 minutes, so these cars' tyres are going to be cooked anyhow. Tyres are looking to be cooked. Richard Colomb on the back of Smith. Doesn't seem to be having much of a way in. But meanwhile, Alex North got very close to making a move on McKillop. And he's going to be trying once again. The Ferrari does have a bit of a shake through Tamburello. Heading into Villeneuve now. Continue to fight. Big extension coming in from McKillop. And North also invalidating the lap on the books. I'll be claiming any fastest laps with that one. It'll be our last few minutes here. It's going to be the penultimate lap. And oh, North goes for it into Variante Alto. Not sure whether that was contact or what, but they go a bit too deep in the second half of the chicane, and now it's a drag race. North and McKillop. McKillop has the inside, but North had a bit more speed. Space being left, contact being made, never mind, almost roadblocking the track in its entirety. Quick to get off the racing line. North is going to be the one who comes away from it best. Pollock is going to be heading off in Rivalta as well. And they are going to be dropping down all the way to P14. Kill up P12. A little bit of a dangerous scenario. That could have ended in more than just two cars. I'm very glad those two got out of the way of the rest of the field. Anthony Flack on the back of McKillop here. Certainly momentum to gain. Looking a little bit shaky in that Ferrari. Bernard Heim and Gila meanwhile. Gila goes for a move but overextends through Tamburello. Heim could get an opportunity to retake the spot. As the Aston is looking fairly shaky. But through Villeneuve. Not quite to be. In fact, taking a bit too much curb is going to see their turn in take a bit of a hit. Flack looking to the inside. Trying to spot opportunities to get round. This is an in-class battle, so this already has more stakes than a lot of movement up on this field. Thompson currently leading with 20 seconds. And we're on the penultimate lap of the race right now. A bit of a shakiness from Black there on the exit. Could Pollock be getting a free position? I think he just about will. Oh, but contact being made between the two as Pollock tries to go to the left side. Only a bit of a kick to him there. And as we listen out for the call for race control, Quinn Kellenberg is off on the hairpin. Center is off through Rivalta. And now coming across the line, Carl Thompson is going to be starting the final lap of the race, and then the clock is officially ticking for so many other cars. And there you go, that is the call from race control on the pit wall. Final push. Drivers now know that if they want to get a move done, if they want a position, it is do or die time. Let's see. Big hit there. Oh, Moore is off. Moore is off through Villeneuve. And then a few more cars are going to be trying for attacks. It's Anthony Flack here. Chasing, continuing to chase. Not letting anything stand in his way. David sent a big extension over Piratella. And then Paul Murray potentially getting close. And then Murray wants that P14 quite badly. But we look away for now. And where we look instead is to the top of the field. He's had a pretty much perfect race. Short of the fastest lap, Carl Thompson has absolutely dominated tonight's race. So for the Pro/Gold class, your winner tonight, here in Group 2, Round 4 of the SIMseniors World Championship is going to be Carl Thompson, and what a run it has been. It is a privilege to watch some of these drivers race. But here we go, coming across next through the field, Mark Hughes, and then we can start to see some of the other runners make some position changes. Yeah, a happy little weave there. Another dominant driver out on this track is going to be Dorigo. As we had a bit of an issue with Gila, who was leading but had to stop and go 30. So that means Dorigo, through again a very clean and good drive, is going to take the lead and the win on silver. A couple more drivers finishing up their battles now. But then in the bronze class, coming through to the start-finish line, it is going to be none other than the one, the only Frank Tennant, the only Bentley, and quite possibly the snazziest and most in-theme looking Bentley I have seen. Really channeling that wacky racer's energy. I love to see it. But as the rest of the field comes through to the start-finish line, Tennant, one of the last ones through, but a very powerful finishing position. P17, but winner of the bronze class. And then the last few drivers through here. Time is through, and that is time. Ladies and gentlemen, Carl Thompson heading into the pits. That is your winner. And then Dorigo winning silver. And not David. Frank Tennant winning in the bronze. Amazing stuff out of these drivers tonight. And what a run from all of them. It's great to see some of these drivers really put the pedal to the metal tonight. They proved what they were made of. They went for some excellent moves. And with that all being said, folks, that is going to do it for tonight. So if you have enjoyed, do make sure to check us out on all the socials. So be that the Facebook, be that the Discord, as well as here, give us a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed what you've seen. Check out Group 1 and check out next round as well, because next round is going to be fairly interesting. I'm personally looking forward to it. And where are we going, you may ask? Where are we going? It is going to be none other than the Temple of Speed itself. We keep it to Italy. And we head to Monza. But that is after the break week. And for now, we sign off for a little while. It's been amazing to have you folks. I've been Sappy, aka Ben Sapsford. And I will see you hopefully soon. Take care. Goodbye.